Around, sit up on the hill and watch the sun goes down. When the fireflies out on the big green tractor, we'll make it go slow, but we can go faster.
Yeah, but if you look at something like the moon program, for every, I think for every, they're pulling on.
This is really important for the children to see another side of these issues. When, you know, if you're familiar with what they're teaching in school, it all leans to one side, and there needs to be more balance in that. So I'm hoping that we get everybody involved here and try to get involved with the school system more if we can do that.
Well, I am glad that we're here. Being a Marine, we have this logo: the few, the proud, the Marines. Outstanding. And I just want to share that with you because we are the few and the proud, and we're truth about green. That's why we're here today. And we're going to spread this truth until everyone hears, and we're even going to invite President Obama over to take part in what we're doing here and help educate him as well. Why don't we just hop into our first guest speaker? You ready for that? Communications. He helped to develop the National Taxpayers Union of over 362,000 members. He's written and edited numerous policy papers, informational publications, and activist manuals, including the 2-volume Taxpayers Resource Guide.
We were told that cap and trade wasn't about expanding government or raising money for the federal treasury. Oops! Congressional Budget Office says it'll cost $1 trillion over 10 years. The U.S. Treasury just admitted in a memo it may cost up to $300 billion a year in terms of federal collections from emission permits. This isn't about raising government money. You lie! We're also told this isn't about government control of the economy. They say we're not going to get the equivalent of a value-added tax out of cap and trade. You lie! Yet there are green energy firms right now lobbying Congress for tougher restrictions so they can clean up, so they can go to the bank. This isn't about giving certain industries a leg up over others and government manipulating the economy. You lie! When you're told that there's no economic impact of this cap and trade plan or that it will even help the economy, you know the 2 words to give them. You lie!
They have brought us together. We are coming together. We're coming together to fight for our jobs. We're coming together to fight for our energy. We're coming together to fight for our economic future. Si se puede. Yes, we can. The Information Administration projects that it could cost the average American family almost $7,000 each and every year to comply with these carbon dioxide restrictions. Washington politicians, give us back our energy. Greenhouse gases, coal power plants, natural gas, you name it, whatever the plants were, whatever the industry was, they would have to retrofit their operations. That will cost money. They will pass that money on to consumers under my plan of a cap and trade system. Electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket. Did you hear that? Electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket. We don't want that. We don't need that. Washington politicians, give us back our energy. This is about sending more money and more power to Washington, D.C., to politicians and bureaucrats who have enough of it already.
Steve Malloy, he's the publisher of JunkScience.com, author of Amazon.com, and best-selling book Green Hell.
Well, I have a question for you. Do you want the United Nations telling you what kind of car you can drive? No! You want the United Nations telling you what kind of food you should eat? No! And do you want the UN telling you how warm or how cool your house can be? No! All right, very good. So we got that straight. But what green really means is the left-wing political agenda. And that's what people don't focus enough about. They don't listen. They're green on the outside, red on the inside. It's true. And this is not just Cold War rhetoric. If you look at every solution they offer to every environmental problem, whether that problem is real, imagined, fabricated, whatever. Their solution is always more government control. It takes. But at some point, we're going to have to confront the reality that, this is really not about energy for them. It's not about the environment. There's nothing they want to do that's going to improve the environment. I mean, look at what they want to do. Their whole reason for being right now is carbon dioxide. It's colorless, it's odorless, it's naturally occurring in vastly greater amounts than humans could ever manufacture. You can do the mathematical calculations and figure if you shut down the coal industry in the United States for the next 100 years, it's not going to make really any difference in the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So what is it that they really want? Well, if they get Waxman-Markey, they're going to control how we use energy. Healthcare may be 20% of our economy, but energy is the other 80%. There will be no goods and services produced without the environmentalists controlling how they're beginning.
We're looking at coal mines, steel mills, the industries that support those, of course, utility companies. There's going to be a lot of people out of work if this thing gets passed. But this bill wants to make sure that all commercial buildings and residentials adhere to some green standard. So now we've got the federal government coming into your house. Whenever you go to sell your house, it has to meet these standards. And these standards are established by nonprofit groups that have some agenda. And they're looking at your roof, the quality of air inside your house, and who knows how far this can go. I mean, they do say that it will be an average of $10,000 per home.
Greenhouse gases have always surrounded the earth. They've always surrounded the earth. The main component of greenhouse gas today is water vapor, which accounts for 65 to 85% of the emissions. Fact 2, carbon dioxide is not a pollutant. The Earth's averaged atmospheric temperature has risen and fallen throughout time. It was much warmer, get this, 7,000 years ago than it is today. Even 800 years ago, portions of ice-covered Greenland were fertile and being farmed by the Vikings. Climate scientists and biologists concur that solar activity occurring between 1975 and 1998 is most likely the reason that the Earth experienced a recent warming trend. Absolutely. And finally, in the 1970s, our media was reporting a threat of global cooling and an oncoming ice age. That's in the 70s. In the 1980s, average global temperature rose slightly, and by 98, another cooling period has set in. We're now in a phase of global cooling, not global warming. Simple facts we need to know and understand. So you
watch the sun goes down when the fireflies out on the big green tractor.